Hey everyone, I'm Hash Brown and I'm a highly experienced Savage Raider in Final Fantasy XIV. As I've done week 1 prog for about 5 years now since Eden's Gate, I thought I'd do a quick checklist of things to prepare you if you too are planning to go through Savage on release. With it just around the corner, let's get straight into it. If you haven't already, the first thing I'd recommend is going through the current extreme trials with your group or in Party Finder for practice and the gear. The 710 eye level gear that you get from these will be equivalent to the crafted battle gear released with Savage. And although that might be better overall due to reasons I'll go over shortly, it can save time and give less need for it, at least for the first 2 fights. Both extremes currently are not too bad, and there are guides out there to help. But as an example, EX1, Valor Commander, doesn't really have big puzzle mechanics, and the DPS check can be cleared relatively easily. In addition to this, I recommend checking which loot you might need from the normal Arcadion raids following your stat priorities, which can be found in the Balance Discord most easily. For example, physical range, which are my main jobs, all want the legs and chest piece for better stats for Savage. The next thing predictably is trying to be reasonably ready for crafted gear come Savage release. On day 1, a new set is released tying the item level of extreme trials and normal raids, but with the added bonus of being able to pentameld the gear. Statistically, it's the best possible setup you can go into the fights with, but this gear can be expensive on the first few days. If you have your crafters leveled, you can pre-prep materials already, as it's likely there won't be more than 1 extra gathering node, if any, with Savage. Again, I recommend checking the balance for stat priorities before getting it, as some crafted pieces may be worse than the extreme or normal mode raids thanks to awful stats. For example, determination plus skill speed is a bad stat spread for physical ranged. If you're more flush with guild, don't be afraid to ask around for a crafter for some early gear. Many are willing to make day 1 gear for about 10 to 15 mil per set, but if you do get it, you'll be wanting a lot of materia to compensate. Speaking of materia, you'll want to stock up on as many 11s and 12s as you can if you're planning to get crafted gear and overmeld it. To do it yourself, you need at least 1 crafter at level 100 for melding, but it doesn't matter which one. The best way right now to get materia consistently is probably hunt trains. A ranks can drop crystals to be exchanged for 11 and 12 rank materia, as well as sacks of nuts being used in Tuliolal for some extra ones if you like. Groups like For Loop can be great for attending organised hunt trains, and they generally take about 30 minutes each. For a full set, I've always gotten about 100 of each 12 materia, and 250 to 300 of each 11, but it can vary greatly depending on luck. Again, materia can be bought on the market board, but currently, at least on EU servers, they are very expensive relative to how many you need. In terms of the relevant currencies, they won't be too hard to cap this time, as it's likely what you've already been collecting during Dawn Trail activities. The one currency I most definitely recommend is the Allegan Tomestones of Aesthetics, as on Savage release there will be crafting materials purchasable with these tomestones. The vendor will be the same one as the current tomestone vendor, located here in Solution 9. Having a full 2000 makes sure that if you're crafting or having gear crafted for you, you'll have enough to cover a set. They are often used for materials and new potions as well, which will be used to help clear each fight. Secondly, I recommend capping bicolour gemstones from Fates if you can. The materials you can get from the different zones may also be used, and being able to bulk buy them immediately can save a lot of time and money. Now getting into things for the actual fights, one thing that can help and save a little time is trying to sort with your group generic movement positions. For example, as Savage tends to have a lot of pair or spread mechanics, you can sort clock spots around the boss, who should rotate to who, and even light parties when double stacks happen. It sounds silly, but many Savage fights, especially early ones, often tend to have these mechanics as a warm-up for the bigger things later on, and can help instead of wasting a lot more time between pulls sorting it out. The same applies to basic markers when entering a fight for the first time, as sometimes just having better orientation can save a prog pull. One of the key things to sort if you're in a static group for Savage is the organisation of raid times and prog expectations. Although it may seem obvious, it's important to establish what the group wants to do and how fast they want to prog. With longer hour groups, remember to establish your break times as well. Often in my groups we have set breaks to eat food and can discuss and go over mechanics as we wait. Make sure too if you're a raid leader to know loot expectations. For example, if you plan to give your melee or anyone else gear to help ease DPS checks. Sorting this early on can help avoid unwanted mishaps or awkwardness where someone expecting gear early on doesn't get any. To tie in with the last point, if you're progging more casually or happen to be free during the daytime before you start your session, you can always tune in to watch streams if your group doesn't plan to do blind progression. Getting clips and ideas and mechanics beforehand can really accelerate the early prog, and at least boost to a quicker clear for the first fight, if not the second. For who to watch, it doesn't overly matter, but it might be more ideal to find someone on your chosen role at least. For example, with tanks it can help to figure out cooldowns before you even reach the mechanic. For the last few things, of course remember to actually complete the Arcadion normal raids to have requirements for Savage. If you plan to head in straight away on release, whether in PF or with your group, you'll want to stand next to Gabbro in Solution 9, who will almost certainly have the quest unlocked for them, thanks to what he says at the end of the normal mode raids. As well as this, for those who have groups across data centers, it might be an idea to travel to the one that's available, being either Shadow DC on EU or Dynamis on NA. There's not been a word if DC travel restrictions will be lifted come Savage release, so this is more a safety measure in case they don't. If they do, then you can of course visit any of your region's DCs for raiding. Finally, and it sounds cliche, but remember to have fun with your prog. Savage for most people isn't a sprint, and the fun of doing a mechanic right for the first time with your friends or strangers is a great one. It's important to keep a healthy mindset for it instead of wiping a few times and getting upset about it, and getting tilted early on won't help you play any better come the end of the fight. And that's my list of things to prepare and check before Savage comes out. I'll be raiding myself like always and hopefully clearing quite early, but I'm really excited for the tier and I hope you all are too. If there's anything I've missed from this video, let me know in the comments. If you found the video helpful, consider liking it and subscribing to the channel for more Final Fantasy XIV stuff, although this is sort of the first thing outside lore I've made. In any case, thanks for watching, best of luck with prog, and have a good day.